this is an interesting talk. It talks about how certain skills, search and awareness, that are from those two. Search roles are generally initiated by the player rather than the board master. Awareness is used to see if the character's passively noticing. So it sounds like
I would say lower awareness.
Yeah,
versus you would say I search for something.
I search for something. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Spider sense.
The most amazing chair I've ever seen.
Isn't that cool?
That is a really cool chair.
And it's comfy too. Try it. So you know that estate place on Division and the Ruby and Mission about? They're always going out of it because they have all this stuff. This was just off the side of the sidewalk there in front.
Huh.
So.
It's a nice chair.
Yeah. I'd always joked about having a throne, and
that's what I was thinking about.
I gotta have it. And then later I got this. This is from the 1920s. But apparently in the 1920s, the whole medieval thing was in vogue. So it's the leather strapping and all that. It's very cool. And so I was like, this is meant to be down there eventually when I get a nice dining room set. But for now, yeah, perfect for gaming.
It actually makes you look small in a chair, Mom.
Does it?
Yes.
So that's my scale. That's perfect. It's nice for a change because I had that photo of me standing by my motorcycle and it looks like a scooter. I'm like, really? It's worth it that much? I didn't think okay. And I didn't know that until somebody on the Miniature Rider website said, dude, you make that thing look like a Vespa or something like that.
It looks like it fits you exactly.
Yes, it is just right.
It's just right. You know,
Like it was made for me.
Procusty's got giant who, if somebody didn't fit his bed, he'd stretch them out. They would just line up, or if they were too long for the bed, he'd chop them up to make them fit.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
Oh my.
But small shape.
So
as we march along, I am searching for trouble.
okay. Well, if you look for trouble long enough, you'll certainly find it. Just to give so go ahead and, so which one between travel and explore? Explore is like unknown areas and travel is what?
Explore is like finding paths, finding your way, building interesting places, finding places to set.
Okay, which?
Travel is road weirdness.
Okay, anything about like knowing distances or geography is all going to be lore?
Might be evil.
So
I think that would be travel, wouldn't it?
I would think more.
I would think more travel.
When the company needs to cover distance across uncertain territory, including by boat, every companion is required to perform one or more tests to use the travel skill to avoid becoming weary too soon. Certainly the part of experience, use of travel benefits mostly from your strength and skill.
So I guess it'd be lore. Yeah, just kind of an awareness on maps and stuff like that. So everybody roll your lore. Ooh, excellent. That's a great success. Not so great now. Oh, this is an easy one. The target and roast. Yeah.
Made it.
Okay. Please, no spilling drinks on the notice map. Okay, we had 2 great successes. So both of you are pretty much about to the mile. You know that from maybe not the village itself, but from where the village road meets the east-west road to the peak of the pass of the Misty Mountains that you're going to. It's called the High Pass, is about 150 miles. Now you estimate that on foot you'll travel about 20 miles per day. That's at a pretty good clip. If you want to slow it down, take longer, that's your choice. But that's the average travel, 20 miles per day. And so that would typically take you about 7.5 days.
One way.
One way.
Yes.
Thus the rations.
Did he say 7.5 days?
Yes.
It's 150 miles just to the peak of the pass.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, we have enough to get there and back. And what do you say?
And a little bit more.
That's good.
Okay, so go ahead and roll is it your travel for finding camping spots or your explore? Explore, okay. Roll out for camping spots for night.
Great success. Got that? Yeah.
Okay, so great success. Now you can leave it at that, or others of you can roll as well if you wish. If you guys are happy with
You guys can get that.
her results, or you could try to top it. But you tell me the spot you find.
This is for camping time.
This is camping tonight. Yeah, the day goes through an event.
That doesn't matter to me because I want to be building that blind once we get there, so I don't care. Somebody else find the spot.
Okay.
Okay.
Describe the spot you find.
Well, we're wandering along the side of the road, starting to get dark. So, I've been probably scouting out a little round as we go, just dodging off the forest to see if there's anything interesting. And I pop back out of the trees and wave the party group over to a small clearing that I found before, just like ravine in the forest. So, protected from the wind and any storms that might come up, although it's pretty hot.
How is it for water and such?
There's a little stream.
Oh, that's
Can we see the road?
We can see the road. It's up, and then we can see the road pop our hands up. Yes, they were in front. See if that's better. So there's there.
Okay, so I start looking for small branches that I can weave together.
okay. Okay, craft.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got some skill there.
Oh.
Okay, well, and I forget what that actually means. It doesn't always, sometimes it's just a one. It isn't always, because sometimes it's just simple things that,
Not necessarily a critical value.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Judge myself.
I mean, and really, I'm not even sure it's necessarily a role, but I'm trying to get you used to the
Yeah,
process.
right.
So,
I jab myself.
no, I really know how to do this. Let me do this. See, I'm excellent. I build excellent. Definitely excellent. Excellent, right? Okay, let's see. Salonine, Iosine.
It's like it, then I think you guys.
Trees, eyeballing, battery.
For walking
Yeah,
below.
so 25, 26 or so. You've done it now, you've gone too far. The lowest result possible. Under most circumstances, when the feed die comes up showing the eye of Sauron icon, the die counts as a 0.
Great. So I look for branches, but they don't seem to be the right type, and my efforts to build a blind to kind of put over the ravine part where we are result in failure, and I give up frustrated in a few well-placed hobbit books.
Well, but see, since you have ranks, it's not like. So what was your?
I get
Oh,
10.
did you roll? Well, okay, it was easy enough.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought I had to get higher.
This was easy. Moderate is 14.
Oh, sorry.
Easy's 10.
Easy's 10?
Yeah.
Okay, I just made it. All right, I make.
But
still
it was
had-
not your best work. Yeah. Not going to take a windstorm.
Poor quality of craftsmanship that embarrasses me in front of my erstwhile companions. I somewhat shamefacedly throw this over the top of the.
Did you hear
what she's?
We're your actual companions. We're not erstwhile.
You might want to abandon me. Okay, so I say, well, this will help. At least if there's any prying eyes looking from above, they might not see us. Want to hide under something? I suggest showing the ravens.
So I'm going to read a little bit just about that because it's come up with the Salamai. When the lore master is making a die roll to determine the outcome of an action attempted by a servant of the shadow, it can be considered more appropriate to the theme to switch the meaning of the two special icons the Sauron icon becomes the highest possible result possible and yields an automatic success for the Shadow Servant, while the Gandalf rune becomes the lowest possible result and produces a value of 0. So,
That's kind of cool.
yeah, I'll use that option. I always do that. So. But it just means a 0. Now, if you only have that to roll and no skill, yeah, automatic failure.
But because I have
But because you have skills, the odds of you really fumbling it are greater.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a really...
Yeah. It doesn't have an automatic fumble the way other systems do, but even though it has an automatic success.
It's been a while since I made one of these, so I'm a little rusty.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Good. A true story and you're sticking to it. All right. All of you going to sleep?
I take
Or
first
what?
watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm snoring like a baby.
I'm very passively aware and keeping an eagle eye out.
Okay.
Any hint of trouble.
Okay.
That would be nice.
You'll be second shift? About what time?
No, shifts more than I.
I'll take the last one and the
2 hours long.
browser at the end. So
Okay, so give me rough times that you do
So I'll take the 3rd, I guess. So
What time is it when we...
It's after he builds his lean-to and everything, it's 10 o'clock.
Okay. So I'll stay on watch
And
until 1.
it'll be dawn by about 4:35, 5 in the morning.
Okay, then I'll stay on watch till midnight.
Okay. And then
then you're on
from midnight to 2 or 3.
Let's do 6 hours, right?
You're hot, you'll sleep as long as you want.
So do I take the next shift or does he? Because he's... Because I was
Between you
talking
guys.
about from Bill.
I'll take
Okay.
I'll take the
Yeah, that's it. Clever scheming. What kind plan? Yeah. Okay. So, on your shift, go ahead and roll your
Search or awareness?
awareness. Because you're not actively like hunting around for anything. Just trying to keep some notices. What's your total? You get all those dice? Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, you have 6 ranks. Yay. All right. Yeah, a couple of night creatures, you wonder about because they whistle and
You don't like my choice.
Yeah. But nothing eventful happens. Your shift. Okay. Same thing. You're pretty on top of it, but nothing uneventful happens. Yeah.
So
Great success.
okay.
Holy
Oh,
cow.
is that
That is
Sauron?
nice, Sauron.
Okay, what is that?
It's not anything.
Nine.
Awesome.
Okay, no, it's not enough. The target number is 14.
Yeah, but it's a great success with the little rune. It's a great success even if you don't make the target number.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't,
I just read that.
not this room, the other one.
Yeah, the other one.
The G ring. No, so that T makes it
This
automatic?
one.
Oh,
Oh.
oh. Okay,
Well,
Well, let's
Good
do
job.
that.
yeah, let's make sure that definitely increases your odds.
Page 27. Oh, yes, no, I guess
It's the G ring that's automatic.
I guess I was wrong,
I
sorry.
like the artwork in here. This is really good.
I must have read the wrong one.
There's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, no, okay, never mind.
Yeah, my understanding of it is...
Never mind!
My understanding of it is, if you roll a G rune, no matter, even if it's the only die you have, that's an automatic success.
Yes.
If you roll a Sauron rune, it's just a 0. If you do not roll a G rune, and you do not roll enough points to beat the target number, even if you had all 6s, let's say you had 2 6s, but the target number was 14 and you only had 12, then it would still be a failure.
But just having one of those 6s mitigate the
Only
success.
Or it gives you degrees of success. No, there's no degrees of failure.
It's if you do succeed, it
You
tells you
get
what kind of
degrees,
success.
exactly. So, and that's why they call them success dice. So the 12 side is a feat die, the 6 side is called success dice. So, okay, that's good though, that's good to have that clarified. All right. What's that?
Yeah, it also matters if you're miserable.
Yes, it does definitely fatigue and factors like that. So that's where it can be bad, and shadow, and that's a whole. Yeah. But you're all pretty well rested, and
Exceptionally well rested.
night goes through uneventfully. It's the following morning. How early do you guys want to get on the road? Sun's fully up by 5:30.
Daybreak. Let's get going as soon as possible.
It's well past daybreak already. 5:30.
So let's go. Let's knock down.
Well, we are in the woods, so it's a little different.
Let's knock down that lean-to and
Knock it down.
We did. It lasted pretty well.
and we were sleeping in that. A light breeze could have killed us. Or crushed
It's
us.
like that old trope. Touch it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
I'm watching you.
All right. So you travel on through the day, and by the middle of the second day, you leave the Greenwood Great. You come out of the woods. You're out in the open Anduin Vales, heading quickly towards Anduin and the ford.
Are we on the east-west road
Yes.
since yesterday?
Yes.
So we camped off of that east-west road.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
So it's the middle of August 30.
Yes.
And what was, so tell us again about.
You've just come out of the edge of the woods. You're now in the open east middle vales of the Anduin, following the old road coming up on the old ford.
Can we look ahead and see?
It's nice open, you have clear skies, there's a little bit of heat shimmer, and a little bit of haze from the humidity, but visibility's 10 plus 20 miles.
Okay.
So you can see.
Do we see anyone on the road?
You haven't yet,
Okay.
but these days that's part of the sad things. This used to be a heavily traveled road. Since the dwarves left Moria, things have not been the same. Very few people go through the forest anymore. Many just go up and around or far down below or south is more hazardous than it used to be. So often they go north and up and around. So you don't see people on these roads very often. When you were coming down, you saw people going north and south periodically, but it could be hours or even a day you see someone. So it's not a busy hub right now. It's kind of ebb and flow. But maybe a week or two of busy days, where it's not. So day goes through. Everybody roll your awareness. Ha! Nice.
So,
Oh, weird. Okay, when I rolled what I'm rolling on my end, Gandalf Rune, when I rolled what I'm rolling on my end with you, I have Sauron. That's freaky. The dice are linked.
9, 13, and 16.
What is that quantum physics thing about linked states of particles?
Ansibles.
What's that?
Ansibles.
Ansibles?
Wow.
That's where two particles that don't seem remotely connected are connected in some way and influence each other.
Well, Ansibles are the thing from Ender's Game, that series where...
I'm talking actually quantum physics.
Well, yeah, no, but that's the thing, is that is keys of quantum physics. If it was to work out all correctly and everything, they can't, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, we just did something where we
Yeah, I know.
supposedly teleported
Yeah,
and affected, and, yeah.
Yeah, and you could actually communicate data over
Right,
distance.
that's what
which instantaneous, which is what an answer is. Oh, that's not there.
Cool.
It's interesting.
Okay. All
I
right,
think that-
so,
I mean, number.
15? Okay, so you're not so much aware.
Nope.
You're aware of high up, some birds circling just at the edge of your vision, circling and kind of following a circle, about a dozen birds. You can't make out what kind, they're too far up to make out the specks, but they seem to be following you west and just circling above you and following you west.
Can I tell whether they're flapping or soaring?
They're just specks. You can't even make out shape. You can't tell if they're a hawk, an eagle, a raven, a dove. I mean, you cannot tell in this instance. But you are aware. Now, did you get a great success in yours?
Yes.
Okay. You can't tell physically, but by the pattern of their movement, you believe they're ravens or crows or something along that, just by their pattern.
Have you guys noticed the birds up above?
Wait.
They seem to be ravens. Possibly crows.
Do I know anything about ravens and crows? And
You
their
heard in legend
associations?
that they, Lord, sorry, you sold me.
But,
No.
I think
Target number 16 on the slide. Sorry.
I 13, 16, 20.
Okay, you know enough to probably fill it. I don't have to tell you the legends about
Right.
and such.
So,
And she's got outstanding success. All right, you start, and then I'll
does it have
offer.
something to do with that the ravens are kind of like almost like a servant of the shadow and the servant of the shadow and I've heard maybe even something about spies. Do you know anything about that?
Why, yes.
Why, yes, I do. What do I know?
You've heard they can be the eyes and ears of evil, not just the shadow, which is Sauron. Other, wizards and others have used them, but they generally serve. They're not always. They don't have to serve evil, but they generally are more the eyes and ears of people or of deceptive type. And not only that, in large enough numbers, they've been known to attack. They've been known to pluck the eyes out of people. They've been known to pluck vicious in large numbers. And if there's a specific branch, since the regular crows and ravens are large enough, but the combined are even larger, and they can be large flocks, and they can be extremely aggressive. We haven't heard of their kind in quite some time.
I share all this with the group.
Too bad they're not low enough to shoot. We should be careful if they watch us, but we can't do anything about them watching us when it's open terrain. True. Forest. We're out of the forest, right?
Yeah, you left the forest a while ago. This is about 5 p.m.
Should have created a blind we could take with us.
The forest that moves.
So, eyes are closed, you can't see me, you can't see me.
It should have butt black keys control.
Yes.
You got your start if you put a towel over your head,
Huh?
and if
Right.
you can't see it, it assumes that it can't see you. I don't know any of that.
Pretty just old logic.
Well, shall we carry on or should we hide?
We should carry on and be as cautious and as cognizant of our surroundings as we can. If they are spies for the shadow or for unsavory sorts, then we can expect they might be reported back to somebody. And we should fear the worst, expect the worst, not necessarily fear it, but definitely expect.
Be excited.
Well, we should
And be
make
ready.
sure that our weapons are ready and moments notice.
And perhaps even drawn. I think that a bare blade can diffuse a conflict better than a sheathed one. So,
I can draw my sword. I'm better with my bow, but walking with my bow strong.
keep an arrow nocked. I have my spear, and
Just in case.
just in case.
What does the road look like immediately ahead of us? Does it go straight on for quite a long time, or does it
Yes, and you can see, faint ribbon of the river overhead. But no, the road is just straight ahead.
And behind us is now we've traveled a ways, and so there should be a fair stretch of the road.
Yeah, there's that dark, just the dark outline of the trees.
Okay. Are there hedges next to the road that I can see, or is it just flat fields?
Flat, open grassland, not very open grassland either.
As long as the moles aren't on the other side of it. Is it really necessary that we keep our weapons drawn if there's nothing to see?
If there, I think yes. It's more intimidating to see us ready to use our weapons than having them at our sides. So if you have a bow, keep an arrow out and nocked.
I got a shadow will be big bones. 40 pieces of metal.
Okay, that's what.
I will defer to your greater military and martial might.
That's just what they want. Sure.
Well, let's keep going forward. My, what time of the day is it?
6:00.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a good question.
Oh, you still have maybe 3 hours to go.
Let's try to get down closer to the river. I wonder how long it will take us. Those of you who have really good travel.
You can automatically do requesting. You figure it probably still take you half a day to get to.
So either we travel until like midnight to get some break. Probably do that before.
Probably be good to camp before we get to the ford, just because we don't know what we'll need at the ford.
No, and we want to be our wits about us.
It's a bunch.
Water. So, let's find a
I'm not
nice.
nervous about water. Still want to pick.
So we'll be looking for somewhere to camp.
Sounds like a plan.
What are you doing?
Looking for a place to camp.
Okay, you need to ask first, say what you want to do. And I tell you if you need to roll.
Okay.
Well, it's hard. It's okay, we haven't quite figured that out. You say look for a place to camp. Now, I started out with you guys rolling all the time to get familiar with the mechanics, but a lot of stuff can just be automatic, mundane.
Right.
So at this point, open field, pretty mundane, you just say I look for a good place to camp, and unless I tell you to roll and there's a target number, you tell me how you do it. It means you just succeed automatically. So, you don't need to roll.
I find this a nice hilltop for probably. I as we see it on the way there, anywhere nearby.
But they're even a slight slope towards the river. Is that enough? Night goes through, I'm just going to quickly go through it. Night goes through uneventfully. Next morning comes around.
31. Yeah.
All right, midway through the day, you reach the ford of the river. It's actually kind of, even though it's a little more muggy, being by the stream is a little bit cooler too. The temperature comes down a few degrees. It's actually kind of pleasant. It's been pretty hot weather. Clear, no clouds in the sky. You do still see the circling group above. You didn't see them the first part of the day, but by midday they were circling above. And there seemed to be a few more of them.
Search the board for signs of other activity.
Definitely signs of horses and foot traffic here fairly recently, but within days, not hours. It's a road, but it has nothing recent. You have not seen anybody.
Are there any trees or bushes or...
Not out here, no, it's just grasslands, open grassland.
Curiosity, how did you get down here from Condor up here?
Up. Inside.
I walked a long way. A really long way. I have blisters on my feet.
Not just on your
You're not
shoulders.
well traveled.
And I'm a soldier, I grumble about those things.
Oh, that's true.
I fill my water skin.
Don't mind the upstream critters. You've seen that ad where it was making fun of the whole Rocky Mountain fresh beer thing.
Oh, yeah.
And like the guy's like filling this thing from the water cans upstream, and there's like an elk or something urinating. I can't remember where I saw that, but something to that effect about mountain freshes and all these things.
You need to know what's upstream,
Yeah.
which is actually a good question. As we look upstream, we see
Well, you're from up north.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any
Notice
signs
Hey,
of-
well.
Any signs of the orcs up north?
And that was across on the west side, and that was still a good day's journey
Okay.
north.
And they have not come this direction as far as we can tell.
As far as you go, I see no sign of anyone.
I know from my experience to the north, and where my people across the river, here at the mountains, the eagles often fly over that way. I'd like to scan the skies to see if I see any other sensitive southern eagles in the sky.
Well, this one you need to roll target number 18.
Okay. And this is sorry.
Try to keep them separate from the other. No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, you don't see any others.
Okay.
Okay. So you're at Ford.
Shall I cross?
It's midday.
Cross.
All right. You Ford
Weapons
across.
ready. We cross.
It gets up. For you, it's only about knee, thigh high.
I still have to go.
Oh yeah. This hot day, it's actually pretty blessed. For you, Ford,
It's good.
it's chest-ish.
Is
I
it
put my bow away.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
You're going to put it up.
Okay.
Is it a?
I am not,
This is where it spreads out and is much. I mean, normally it would be, but it really spreads out and slows down here. So that's why, even for hobbits, it's cross. You can cross. It just takes a little care.
Well, we can, if it's
Okay.
chest
And
high, we can cross now, but not another season.
Yeah, during the spring and early summer, it requires help. So
Well, good thing.
usually, if you're in a group, you use a rope or something, things like that. So. And it is lower when it gets, like in the spring, it isn't a lot faster because this area really spreads out. It just spreads wider. It's good for it. That's why it's this way. Eons.
Let's try to make haste across the.
Everybody just roll a feet die and add, not without any hope on cost, add your body.
favorite body or just body?
Just body. 4. Okay.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Create for both to the left.
Okay. 9. Okay. One of you is going to need to catch her because she kind of slipped and was fluttering down. Do you have a swim as a skill or just use that athletics?
It's your athletics.
Okay, so doing well your full athletics here.
11.
Okay. You're able to, you get pulled down about 15 feet, but you swim kind of diagonal upstream. You're a strong enough swimmer. And you get back to get your footing back, but
Where's your gear?
it still has a gear. I mean, you're able to kind of balance it out.
Okay.
You get there, but it was a little upsetting.
Not
You
much
just kind of slipped on the slippery rock. Could have been a lot worse. All right, you get across without any further damage. You guys continue on, or make camp, or lunch, or what do you do?
Continue on before we move.
Yeah.
All right, you move on for about an hour, and all of you become aware of, in distance, you kind of just look over your shoulder, one of you points to the other, and actually you all see, coming from behind you, from the east, horsemen. Not half a dozen of them. They're not at any high particular pace, but they're moving at a moderate speed, slowly gaining on.
Are they scary horsemen or friendly horsemen?
Can't tell you, they're kind of small and growing.
I say we get off the road and do our best to conceal ourselves, cover ourselves with cloaks.
And the art of disappearing, so
Yes.
it's so scarce.
Okay.
That's why.
All right.
More specifically.
Due to
But you
While
need,
you're being watched.
Oh.
no,
Away.
well, it's also slipping away,
I
but,
think small folk is that.
yeah.
and
No, you're right.
That's good.
so under these circumstances, it is exceedingly difficult to find good cover, so this definitely applies. I'm going to set it as a target number of 16 in this case. So, or you want to go ahead and roll.
I'm going to try and also keep my bow out.
Okay.
In case there, I'm going to roll stealth. Would I roll stealth?
I'm not sure in your case. In his case, it's just outright hiding.
Right.
Yeah, with the art of disappearance, it's not a matter of rolling, it's just a matter of using a hook point.
Oh, that's right. Use a hook point.
Yep.
You're going to use a hook point.
Till I know what's going on.
That's the lie.
That way I can step right back into
Okay.
Faramir.
So that means you have 18 hook
Yep.
points. Okay. Okay.
Would I roll stealth if I'm trying to hunker down
In
or
your case, yeah, you have.
lay down and
Yeah. Yes, I know. All right. That's a success.
yes.
Not a great success, but a success. Okay. And what about yourself?
Myself? Sure.
All right, and a success, great success. All right. So you all managed to kind of tear up pieces of grass and cover up what you tear up, get yourself covered and kill the lunch in time and hopefully not spotted. All right. You see the horsemen are on dark horses. They're not too tall. They're about moderate size, larger than ponies, but smaller than typical horses you would see. And you see that they have heavy metal boots and armor, chain armor, and heavy cloaks over them. There's a half dozen of them. And they seem to be bouncing pretty roughly in the saddle like they're not very experienced riders. Again, not a real fast pace. They're only at a trot, which is why they're bouncing so much. And completely hooded over, gauntleted, and riding west. They do not slow down as they come past you and continue on to the west.
Yeah.
We can take them.
Yeah.
Your Hobbit army.
It's tempting to make stuff visible, but I think going from the descriptions that obviously I believe, so I'm going to just stay from it.
Do they look like the orcs I have seen?
Actually, no. They don't. They look taller, bigger. Maybe it's just on horseback. Fairly taller and bigger. They look more his height than anything.
But scary.
Not scary. When I say darkly, I mean dark browns and they're not black or anything. Just dark brown, dirty, muddy. When they pass, there's bit of an odor of unwashed and pleasant smell. Hard to say.
They appear just to be men.
Hard to tell
Okay.
because they're keeping themselves well covered for whatever reason. And in the heat of the day, that's how they usually. And they're wearing full armor.
Right.
Can I tell anything about the make of the armor?
Roll your.
I do have a smithcraft specialty.
Okay, you can try that and the lore.
Okay. I don't know what
Try the
goes
lore
into
first.
specialty.
That's enough to gather that the workmanship of the armor actually looks kind of like from Northmen, like the far Northmen. And they're pretty far south for this. And actually the horses are kind of shaggy horses, and they're way out of place in this heat. They must be dying. And what are they doing this far south? That's from the workmanship and from the horses. That's what thirsty.
All right.
Northmen are nothing scary here, and they love to hunt orcs.
I stand and
Stand up.
hello them
After they pass, or as they're coming?
as they're passing.
Okay. They immediately wheel their horses off to the side, and you see swords drawn and such. But they keep the cloaks down and have their swords drawn and walk up towards you on their horseback.
Can I have my bow drawn, but still remain hidden?
Yes, carefully. If you don't try to rush it, keep yourself.
No, slowly, just watching
Okay.
things to see if everything.
Did you do that one?
I just watched.
Okay. All right, so they kind of circle around you on horseback. They don't point their swords at you, but their swords are at the ready.
Can I see under their elves their hoods yet?
No, it's still just shadow underneath.
All right.
They don't say a word, stare at you.
You're traveling rather far afield, Northman.
One guy throws back with a revealing blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah, and it's awful heat here.
Do you hunt orcs?
Yeah, you see?
We've not. Well, I haven't, but maybe one of my companions has.
You look at one of them, you just give her away. He looks at the ground with what companions?
Halflings.
I become visible.
Yes, even the little
They do that.
Oh, we hear of Hoffman before.
Hobbits. Thank you.
Hobbitman?
Hobbits.
Ah, yeah.
I pop up at this point.
Good! The horses are getting skittish. How many are you? They popped off the ground. You produce them with magic, what, y'all?
Have you seen Hobbits?
Slides off his horse and sheathes his sword and gets his hands in the air. Please, no more, please. Be careful.
Be at ease, my friend.
We not see Hoffman before.
Well, that
Hobbitman,
works.
Hobbitman. We're looking. We hear the orcs in daylight here not long ago.
Yeah, well, I ran
Come
into
down hunt, but not find them.
orcs up on the North Road
Yeah, that's
in
what
the
we
middle
look.
of the day.
Did we not find? So we try to go to put woods and not find. Come back looking for. But we do not see them.
Not for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are ravens up above.
How can you see anything that's so bright? Yeah.
Well, they've been following us for a couple of days.
Oh, it's not good.
No.
What you Gondor man, yeah?
My name is Faramir.
Yours, Frog?
Nice to meet you, Frog.
Who your half man? Oh, Hobbit.
Hobbits. Thank you.
She's a woman.
They're not
Half
dwarves.
woman, Hobbit, God.
Poppy Small Girl. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Extends a finger. You're like, oh, come on. Okay.
I do. I'm just kidding.
He's not that big a guy. He's probably, how tall are you? Just average.
Yeah, probably.
So he's actually probably a little smaller. I mean, these are not the big. You've heard of Northmen being big guys, and these guys are not. but clearly that stopped.
Are they bearded? Can you tell the one who's got his hip?
Yeah, it's, you know, he's got the long,
He's not a
blonde
teenager.
hair.
He's a.
Yeah, no, they're definitely full grown, you know, in his thirties probably.
Unfooted as well? Or?
No. Well, we now head towards Mountain Pass. We hear goblins maybe there.
Why are you so cloaked in this heat?
Oh, these wet help keep cool from heat.
Oh.
I knew the word, it says some word you don't understand, and like sweat, but do for us. We soak in river
Interesting.
and not get skin. We burn, and you just see now his nose is battling wet and fuel. And, you know, his beard is so bristly that you didn't realize right at first. So it's probably just to keep from burning in the sun.
I asked them, do you know of any people between here and the mountains? Any houses? Or any people that you've met that live along here?
Yeah, we talked to woodmen and even some of the elves up north, but not see. We hear about the Bateman, but never see before. And now I see why they're so. They come out of the ground. You walk through earth.
Sometimes.
Oh,
You should
you
see how
know
much
you
they eat.
live underground. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes.
They eat ground.
They could eat us. And your horses. Party appetites.
We can't help it if we're hungry.
2 breakfasts.
Oh,
Big breakfasts.
oh. But they're little people.
I know.
Would you give us any advice for maybe the orcs you've met along the way, what we should watch out for?
Well, it's strange they travel daylight, yeah? They don't like the light.
No.
So, you know, daylight's usually safe, night, and though we hear reports about them, they not attack anyone, which is strange. When they come out, they usually raid village and such, yeah? Not do that. So we try to find out. Some people ask us, we will.
Have you encountered many?
In the mountains, yeah.
Just in the mountains.
Yeah, but mostly at night. But we hear down here they're getting braver.
Yes,
So
they are.
we come down to get some more cats.
That's the only reason. Hunting orcs.
Yeah,
You're rather far from home.
yeah, we go where the fun is, yeah.
No shame in that.
You're rather far north, yeah.
You know, requirements of the service.
Oh, kings. Yeah, follow orders. Well, we kind of follow orders. Our orders are kill as many orcs we can find. Yeah.
Good
Bring
orders.
back cats. What we do. Well, the winters come.
Do you know what, other than goblins, we can expect in passes?
Yeah, usually only in winter, close to winter, the giants like to come out, cause trouble. Sometimes they cause trouble before, especially if orcs or others disturb the lairs.
He's talking about trolls.
No, trolls are different, and these can come out in daytime. They're not the trolls.
No?
The giants, they hear, my mom would tell me a tale, they throw big boulders, and the crack of the thunder we hear is the games sometimes, so we not go out when those storms get too dangerous, not good. They mostly not care about us. We're much smaller to them than you are to me, yeah?
Ah.
So they pay not much attention. If you bother them, they'll crush you.
Yeah, that better.
So, as long as you stay on the road, usually they don't come down. That's too low for them. They like the cold. Yeah.
Very well.
Close at night, but not in day. Best time to travel during day, but the pass, you've not traveled past before.
No.
Much slower. You cannot take horses, you have to walk. You do not have horses, but we will have to walk. Takes 3 times longer, travel same distance. Wow. So it's very slow going, long cliffs, very steep. Sometimes some of it's collapsed. You have to carefully work your way across and not slide down. So very, very slow. So take lots of provisions. Water's not the problem, though.
That's good. Have you traveled beyond the pass?
Oh yeah. We go down, we go back up, and come up the other North Pass.
How are those lands free from orcs?
Mostly. There's other things that are strange, but
Such as?
swamp people, the lights. Mostly in the more wildlands, but there's people there, and they're good folk too. Yeah. More kingdom than all.
Right.
If you don't mind, we tried to get going. We want to get the mountains and cooler. It's too hot here, and I lose water too fast. So, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You stayed hidden this whole time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy hunting.
And nice to meet the rest of your army if you're around. Thank you for not shooting and stealing us.
We have 20 with those trained on you.
20
20. That's proper protocol.
of your half-men army. Oh, Overton.
Thank you.
She just said,
Hey! Ah,
there's more where that came from.
yeah, we go now. We go.
Happy
now.
hunting for.
Climbs back up here and splosh into the saddle now. Realize they must have just soaked themselves in the river and then covered themselves up. So, and they take off.
So it's still about an hour after lunch at this point.
Okay, one second.
He says he finished the campaign already.
Oh, Lord.
He let him take over the boulder and everything.
Oh, my.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine. We can continue to break.
Yeah, let's take a little break.
That's a good spot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Wow.
That's how the residents can do it.
They're killing their unlimited data.
Pardon?
Verizon's killing its unlimited data plan, but only if you upgrade from 3G to 4G. So I still have 3G phone.
So do I. Yes.
You just feel it the play, I was a little worried that Lacey Miles might kind of take over. Oh boy, today. And Drake's unsure himself enough to let them argue him into and took over Go Boulder.
Sorry.
Everybody Go Boulder needs to know. So I'm trying to find. Huh? I understand.
That's
So you
all
need
right.
to read. You need to know all this. It's not
You didn't really tell me anything about Tolkien.
I know. I didn't. I thought it was kind of spelled out, but it had hundreds of works and stuff.
Yeah, they killed them.
And that it's where the necromancer. Whatever the see, I don't understand what he said.
I didn't know about the
vacation.
necromancer until later.
Okay.
Until they'd already taken over the city.
Well, why did you not know that? Did you not read ahead?
No, I read the mention. It didn't mention.
Okay. I thought maybe I didn't spell it out. So I'm going to see, I had, Mercon 5 was Let Sleeping Dragons Lie, and they didn't finish it. I never got to the big thing. So, and Drake remembers it. He was in it. They were all in it, but they only got to like 3/5 of the way or something.
Okay.
And it's in the same area where it left. That he just finished in Wilderland, so it could become a tie-in, even though it's a different time period. What's that?
You know, we have to take anyway.
Uh-oh.
Stick it out.
Okay.
It's like living a hobbit, like a week's supply of rations maybe.
No, they, yeah, 3 days worth in one day, yeah. This is 3 days worth of adventure.
There you go.
Okay, on 5, 2009. This was the apple tree in.
Oh, right. I remember that one. That was my second Tolkien Moot.
Yeah. Yes, number 8. I have 5 parts to it. Okay, 7 times 7. So, I guess this is newer. Alright, so let's see what I have in here. They did different drafts of each version and there were 5 parts. I wonder how far I got. Assembled 731. Let's see how much was in there. Crap. I don't think I detailed it enough. Ugh. 128 pages.
Sounds detailed.
Oh my goodness.
So Cisco Systems created a
campaign for them? way too fast.
They just do way too fast and miss their road.
Systems, we're widening that traffic fourfold between 2010 and 20.
Yeah.
There's traffic there, but then beyond, so there's tablets and you're all the time, everywhere.
Companies networking at index, which is the top of growth of internet traffic each year, forecast global traffic will be 80.5 exabytes per month within this period, which is equivalent to 17 billion users at stop. But in 2010, compared to at 80.5.
It's definitely.
Just 2 years ago, the world saw only 20.2 exabytes a day.
Probably going to bed soon, that.
What?
Probably going to bed soon.
Are you?
Yeah, probably.
Good for you.
I don't think they would make
So for streaming more video, what high def video.
Yeah, that would do it.
Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, that's pretty much that. Global mobile traffic will outgrow fixed loop traffic by 3 times between 2011 and 2016. Music, more internet-enabled devices on the market. In 2016, there will be 10 billion mobile internet-connected devices, which exceed the world's projected population at that time of 7.3 billion.
Yeah, because they're including people that talk.
Right. You know what's interesting was this article about Peru, where they said we've got to help people become more technologically literate. And so they came up with this way of, like, they were taking laptops and trying to get low-cost laptops in schools. Good idea. They didn't train teachers. Many of the teachers said they don't have computer at all. And so these laptops were with this great idea that they're going from top down.
Right.
That is, they bring it to the school. Teachers have no idea how to operate them or to teach them to the students. And so maybe a couple of kids figured it out, but yeah, the rest of them didn't. So actually, it widened the disparity between those two. I mean, obviously, some kids in every culture will walk in like, oh, they look at how this.
Right.
So, but for the rest of the kids, they're still in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. For implementation.
Yes. Better. I think, since school. She's not as like that then. And they didn't have that. So,
Oh, very cool.
and at that point, we could probably find out, it won't be totally, but by that point, we can find out, so. We'll just wait until next time.
That's exciting.
That is. I've been,
Is everybody excited to not be the baby anymore?
yeah, she's okay with that. She's okay with that. She's had 9 years.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to enjoy being the youngest. It could be good for her to have somebody that she's a big sister.
When you say big sister, you mean somebody that walks around, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm an only child.
I only know the truth through. I think that's especially true through kids who are girls or children. The more time there is, like my brother was 7 years older than me.
Right.
I didn't really feel like he bossed me around. Either he ignored me, or we played together and have fun, most times, or he'd wrestle me down and pin me, and I had nothing to say about it. There wasn't a lot of bossing. It was just kind of like.
I think with that distance of years, you kind of know who's
got the upper hand.
Yeah.
Well, when you can see things, when you can see things, that is a, you are the one who thinks something's correctly, then it's always easy to see other people's.
All right, I just got to get this printed for them.
Okay.
It's 120 pages.
Well, they could start tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to start it printing. I emailed it to them. Then we'll continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you feeding it page by page?
No, I'm sending it to a computer that doesn't have the driver issue.
Okay.
Email it to that computer for print from there.
Okay.
That way it won't have a problem.
We were trying.
Do we have sody pap in the garage?
What?
Sody pap in the garage? Sody pap.
It's on the table?
There's a ton of sody pap.
Sody pap.
I've got Coke,
Sody
Sprite,
pap.
Mug, Crush,
soda pop.
Cherry Pepsi. Unless you eat Mountain Cream, I'm not selling
No, yesterday we were trying to print out a spreadsheet of the RSVP forms so that I can make character sheets based on all the input.
Yeah.
And the computer hop was using had driver problems, and so the printer would only take one page at a time. It would just sell auto feed, get stem. Here's this thing was only 7 pages.
Yeah.
We were able to cut it down from the 28 that it wasn't written.
Wow.
More than one person had a really long background story. And
Was that last year?
no, last night.
Oh.
I took 2 pages.
Pardon?
I took 2 pages.
I think it was 3. But there were 2 of you that had, and it, because we finished printed and the words didn't wrap, so it was just one long continuous line. So that was the problem, is that we couldn't get the words to wrap. Otherwise it would have been 1 page.
So is these streaming us right now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
See, you notice I'm not really
I noticed
in the
that's good.
screen. I can just kind of sit back and be in on Linus.
Where's my art of disappearance?
You could just hide under the table.
Page 131.
This is the...
I have a friend who texted me about 4 hours ago to say that he had some bad news for me.
Oh.
So I've been like worrying for
4 hours.
yeah, and then I go out and I call him, and there's no bad news, just screw it.
Lovely.
Needless to say, I was a bit
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Way to put you on Disney.
Yeah, really, like not even being able to focus on what counts. It's just, and I'm gonna be honest, I was just messing with you. How dare you?
Breaks
Is
my
there a
heart.
place where he...
He does not recycle.
What?
It breaks my heart.
I'll take it back to my house.
Okay.
Good man, man. If I had a hat, it would be off right now.
Me.
Okay,
And goodbye. Christening this bag. Recycling bag.
Oh, good.
I'll take it back tonight and then I'll bring it back tomorrow.
I'm sure that there are more cans in the waste bin. I won't be collecting my garbage.
Depends on how deep It's like the simplest thing, you know.
Well, it is.
I recycled at my house. I'll take it.
I knew there was a reason I liked you, Brian.
Alright, where's, Tyler?
I have not had sody pap for some time. I haven't had Sprite for longer. So it actually
Are
tastes.
you feeling sprightly?
I am feeling very sprightly. Extremely sprightly. Now that I don't have anything to worry about. It's-
Oh, wait, that's lifted. And you call this a friend?
I know, I call him a friend. He's a good friend. It's probably quite a kill. friggin' vengeance is to the chest. Lukewarm, that's it.
Tepid.
Tepid.
They want bean and cheese or beef and bean burritos?
No, thank you.
That's
Sure.
Beef and bean or bean and cheese?
I'm not eating very much today, actually. I ate breakfast at downtown, the coffee shop. And a few things here, pretzels, but not really done a meal thing about it. I'm really not feeling it. So, the pretzels, really have those and then this is food.
Yes. Whereas my dad, which is
So that's food too. It's just not as much food as this. They're both empty calories.
yeah, but my dad sometimes.
Really? Oh, so on zeros then?
No, it's just a dad.
You knew that the rest of it.
Right. That's really.
It is flavored water.
Yeah.
To me, not very good flavor water either.
I drank it just for the taste.
I mean, is that why I want to drink cheap beers for the taste of it?
Yeah.
Like Game Day or Pabst?
No, it first came out in 1994. I was a little behind for beer. Okay.
So no gig tomorrow, huh?
Well, right now, I have no ego about like trying to.
Have you been down to see my
No, it's funny because that's why I go to green ones and stuff. I know a couple of people who are like free people who work there, but I'm not, and that's, I should.
Not tomorrow.
Yeah, because I know, I know like three of the wait staff, at least, like one of them's really well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot. Yeah.
It's so nice to have that place to go to and not have to get involved. It's the Rocket Bakery's coffee. It's just,
You just want to know what
it's
Yeah, I go there for my math tutor, and
Yeah.
I get an Italian soda.
yeah. And I mean, the pastries aren't bad, but when you can get somebody shot,
No, you do.
it's, and like the coffee shop, I was at Lux
That was back
downtown,
then.
across from Lux. And they have pastries for the shop. And the coffee is animal coffee, which is brewed, I think, out of the valley. I drink espresso, so it's like, I know it's good coffee, but it's, you know, just oil. And it's just good. That's the failing of the bakery down here, is their coffee is just, to me, it's almost average. It's barely average, but just the regular.
Hardware. These are controllers for hardware.
Yeah.
It's got to be the small computers.
Oh, and you're from Seattle, so you probably got
I know
pretty
my
discerning
coffee.
tastes too.
Well, and actually, I have a cousin who is one of 3 coffee tasters for Starbucks.
So, solid state is.
So she sweats and spits all day.
What a job, professional. What a job.
And the solid state, penny bucks.
How nice. When she's moving to London, we get transferred.
Oh, so rough.
She and her husband both got transfers.
It's going to be another box. That's just sure.
They're going to
London
London.
is so 13
Fireworks.
And I would not know that.
it's intense. Okay.
The ribbons all, and have this road that goes around called the blue road. And it's done here, and it's just all these trucks are making more filled in. It's just incredible how it's all done.
What are you doing there, Colin?
That's kind of how Paris is.
How's your adventure going?
Yeah, well, I imagine that Germany.
Well, that's not bad.
Old
Give you
city
stuff
is
to do
very
for the rest of the
small.
weekend.
Yeah,
And then you get just
the suburbs and suburbs. I mean, Paris proper has, I think,
What time are your books
22
coming? 11?
boroughs or whatever.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, Paris goes to Versailles now. And you still have to take a train from
No,
Paris to
right.
Versailles.
But I haven't
it's-
been into Versailles.
Yeah,
It's really outskirts of Paris.
yeah. And where once it was a,
Get away from King.
yeah.
Not so much a holiday house anymore.
Well, we do that when you were a kid, it's like no, which we would not do.
We've been to France all the time. When
Well, it's under.
we came across the channel on the ferry,
Oh.
door,
Okay,
it's very funny because definitely it's because of his association with Britain, you know, definitely there's that sense of almost England.
That's fine.
But we were in a campground 5 miles out of Canada.
Okay.
And so, you know, they have a lot of British people that, you know, would stay there.
Mhm.
And yet, all their signs in that the wash and dryer were stuff were all in French. And except for one sign that said, you don't follow the rules. You said in English, you don't follow the rules. Such and such will happen to you. And of course, the rules were all in French, not.
that's how they get you, of course.
That's very funny.
It was very funny. So I had to ask some questions, and they were nice enough, but it was just hilarious. And I thought, hey, fair enough, it's their country, but it just seemed really weird that they didn't
Norman
go out of their way.
sense of humor.
Yes.
It's not quite
No. Yeah, I'd like to learn more about it. We traveled through Cape Verde and to Belgium. Yeah. They have their own, and I we didn't stay long enough to explore a lot, but each of those areas of France is different, and yet to the rest of the world, we don't know, they're not scholars like you have been. It's just the French or the Spanish, and yet actually within themselves, there's all these different groups, and it's really interesting.
Even different languages when you look at Catalan in Spain.
Oh yeah, very much.
Sicilian, and then Occidental in France.
Well, because it's a small scale one, and they do it update regularly.
Yeah, that's
But
Fireflies,
just
or
like-
anything you see the science fiction
Yeah.
movie or series.
That's
That's the world.
Marker.
And it's a very tough
Yeah.
card. Well,
Yeah, well, and that's actually another fact.
Yeah, I've been finding a lot of it.
Which, actually, that's
Like,
where
I'll stick with it for.
we did like this mitochondrial DNA
Yeah.
test,
Okay.
and it was there was a lot of similarity to.
Okay, you have to read
Really?
every album.
Yeah,
It's shorter, so you don't have to worry about the whole
whether it
1,000
was
pages.
Spanish like this
They will
or
go back down.
French, I tend to think maybe.
Oh, I'm a homespec fan. You really have to,
So there's some.
like, I wouldn't recommend any of the other
Yeah.
stuff other
So I
than
just
homespec.
finished
And,
reading The Three Musketeers by
Probably.
Dumont.
Really
Probably.
good.
Really fun.
And I liked it and I didn't like it. I think his plot is
It's so,
fantastic.
but it's very
But his
pulpy.
characters, I'm like, really guys?
Well,
but this is like watching The Italian Job. Can you really feel sympathetic for these thieves who got stolen from? I don't think so.
Well, and then there's an interesting book called The Club du Moot by a Spanish writer named Arturo Perez Rivera.
Oh, yeah.
Spanish, so, and there was actually a movie called 98, I think, with Johnny Depp, based on this book.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
I think I've seen, I think I have mine.
yeah, it's It's an okay movie.
I was just surprised.
But there's basically it centers around kind of this club devoted to who works at Duma, and then everybody in the club owns like an original part of the manuscript of the Three Musketeers.
Cool. Yeah.
And
That plays into the story.
every person is kind of a mirror image of characters in the Three Musketeers. So there's there's a Richelieu, there's a Milady, there's a
His characters are so vivid. What bothers me is that I guess it's very amoral.
yeah, that's fair.
And I'm like, I don't have a problem with the fact that swashbucklers or whatever. But I found it amusing and yet perplexing that D'Artagnan. I mean, of course, the lady is trying to assassinate him. I mean, I think what comes to her at the end is she's right. But I mean, D'Artagnan's really messing around here. And I think, I don't know, I get this feeling like Athos is about the only one in the story who, the whole time through, I think, yeah, he acts like a nobleman.
Right.
Which he is.
And I think he's a nobleman. Aramis is too. But, I mean, Aramis kind of represents a different facet of nobility. And then Porthos is, I love Porthos, but those three are, I think, more well-defined than D'Artagnan is. I think D'Artagnan really lacks definition as a character.
And he's young.
He's young. And I think in later books, whether it's 20 years after
And the Iron Mask.
in The Man in the Iron Mask, I think in those we kind of see the man D'Artagnan grows into. But I mean, he's a young man. He's a Basque, and so he's big talking and
His temper, man.
right.
His
temper.
honor.
The honor, especially. I think I like the Count of Monte Cristo.
My wife said the same thing. She said the Count of Monte Cristo is
It's a massive piece.
I just finished reading that.
Did you? The full thing?
The abridged audio version. So I'm ready to do it. While I was driving.
All full set.
No. My French is so bad that when I went to Geneva, they all thought I was Italian because I was using sign language to supplement my bad French.
But you know what's really funny about French is because I had some Swiss friends we went to go visit, and they would always kiss you 3 times on the cheek. And I said, so we got used to this after a while. Everybody's kissing each other. I said, oh yeah, well, in France they used to just kiss twice. And we in Switzerland, we kissed 3 times. So they had to do it 4 times just to show.
Just the one up.
They're from the Haute-Loire, the French-speaking part of Switzerland. But they were, the last name is Schneider. So they were German last name, French-speaking. His family came from Basel.
Okay. So, we travel on throughout the day.
We do. We don't have horses.
Red coconuts.
And how did you get coconuts up here?
Do coconuts exist in?
Did it grip it by the husks?
Well, wait. Did a swallow bring it?
African European. Like a husk. There was a Numenorian one that drowned. Far, far, far south. Far south.
Why do you never set campaigns there? I feel like it would be so much fun to just sit on the beach with like a cocktail.
Go
and
to Far,
just stare
far
at
out, where the Mumikils are from.
Sipping your Mai Tai while the elephant makes
I could blend
jam of you.
I could blend. Guys aren't
All right. The rest of the day goes through uneventfully, and the night goes through uneventfully.
It's now September 1, my friends. We have 18 days left of provisions. I have to go back to school soon.
You are now, by noon the following day, you are at the base of the, right at the base of the Misty Mountains as it starts to really climb up. You're looking up. These big mountains, snow-capped peaks year-round. It winds, it gets narrower as it goes up. And the trails start in some places like just carved out of stone, just precipice. Some areas are only 5 feet wide.
We might have trouble. That's a promise I might have to break.
Unless
You could fit it, it's just 5 feet wide. I mean, we're not talking about a foot. We're talking 5 feet wide. But, you know, it's just hairy.
Well, you know, it's probably like this big in the area.
Yeah.
Grandma.
Yeah, these are hobbits.
So they're not going to be